Hey, AV Clubbers, it is time for DVR Club, our brand new recap show. You are tuning in for the first episode. We're going to have some fun here with me, John Teti, senior editor, and
me, Erik Adams, television editor.
And we are talking about the mid-season premiere of Mad Men, which is Severance. And let's recap our top storylines from last night's episode, Erik.
All right, our top storylines tonight. Don Draper chasing the ghost of Rachel Katz.
That's right, Rachel, and this is all the way back to the first season we're going now.
Yes, big old flashback, big old full circle moment for the final season of Mad Men.
I had this dream about a woman I once knew. And I found out the next day she had just died.
What I've always liked about the Rachel Katz storyline is that they really emphasize her Jewishness and the Jewish story. And I think that Don is drawn to that, and especially the part of the Jewish story of wandering in the desert without a home. And I think that really resonates with Don.
He's been so lost for so long on this show, from almost like season 4 on, from when he was living alone. Like, he's been grasping at these straws. We find out in this episode that he and Megan are separating. We don't even see Megan.
No.
And so, you know.
Which is fine with me. I've seen enough of Megan. I'm sorry. I've just had enough Megan over the 3+ years she was on. Let's talk about our inanimate objects of the week. We don't just want to talk about the characters. Let's talk about the props, the set dressing. The prop of the week for me was Peggy's passport. She goes on this blind date. They hit it off pretty well. She decides, let's go to Paris. And why is it always Paris that you go to on the spur of the moment?
Oh, because it's got this romantic ideal to it. It's not the Mad Men romantic ideal. You know, this is a show that idealizes California, Rome. Paris is just sort of an advertising image in of itself. It's this promise that can never come true.
Well, I think that's an important point because Peggy can't find her passport, and to me it exemplifies the fact that, you know, Peggy thinks of herself as pretty worldly, pretty urbane, but I think she realizes as it occurs to her that she's never used her passport, never been out of the country, that this sense of worldliness comes from a very insulated work that she does. What's your inanimate object?
My inanimate object of the week is the mustaches that signify that we're now in the 1970s. Roger Sterling, Ted Shaw, they got these big, like Chicago push brooms on their faces. It could not be clearer that a decade has passed. Man has landed on the moon. It's a new era. It's the new beginning, and it's also kind of this like last gasp of horrible masculinity that has so characterized the character interactions on Mad Men.
Erik, I want to play a little game with you.
Oh, all right.
And with the home viewers, of course. We're going to put up on the screen, and I'm going to show you on my phone here. Erik Adams, do you know this character's name? Okay, take a look.
Oh. Well, that is, of course, Archibald Topaz, the heir to the Topaz pantyhose fortune.
You know what? You faked it very well, Erik.
Well, thank you.
But that is not, in fact, the name of the character. It is this Topaz executive, and his name is Art Garden. It's G-A-R-T-E-N, but it's pronounced like Garden. And what I like about this name, and Mad Men often does this with the name, there's a little hidden meaning in there, right, or a reference or something. Art Garden is the Topaz executive, and there's no art to it whatsoever. It's pantyhose, it's pretty cheap pantyhose, and yet this guy's name is Art Garden, and it just sort of exemplifies the distance between what Peggy wants to be. You know, she wants to work on these thoughtful, groundbreaking campaigns, and the reality of Topaz and the cheapness and just sort of bald consumerism of the whole thing.
They got an egg? Why don't we have a topaz? Big plastic jewel. Green.
All right, and now moving on from women's legs to Ken Cosgrove's future, it's Speculation Corner.
Speculation Corner, here we are, suddenly. Okay, what are we speculating on?
We're speculating on whether or not we're ever going to see Ken Cosgrove again.
You're firing me. Yes, but you're going to get a generous severance package if you help Pete secure all of your accounts, including Dow.
Roger said he'd be glad to recommend you.
Thank you, Roger. I appreciate your loyalty.
I think that this is a very elegant exit for Ken. This is sort of the, you know...
You think he's gone?
I think he's totally gone, in spite of the fact that he still has this connection to the agency, that this was a very, like, nice kind of, all right, a nice salute to the work of Aaron Staton as he heads out into the pasture.
See, now maybe this is just my deep desire talking, but I really want to see Ken Cosgrove come back on the client side. and I want to see him torture these guys. Let's just concentrate on next week. What happens next week, Erik?
Next week, I think Joan goes on a rampage. She's treated so poorly by these people who are essentially her subordinates. You know, she's a partner in this firm, and she gets talked down to so horrifically in that boardroom that I think she's going to be mad as hell, and she's not going to take it anymore.
Especially Dan Higgins. He loves the redheads.
Would you be able to tell him what's so special about your panties?
She goes to get some new clothes, right? And Peggy makes that remark about her clothes earlier in the episode. You know, if you're gonna wear that, you should expect to get those remarks. This is paraphrasing what Peggy said. And then she does go and gets this dress that's not conservative. You know, it is rather revealing. It's in line with Joan's fashion sense. To me, I mean, my hope was that Joan is owning who she is, and she's not. I don't think she's cowed by what Peggy said, but I'm interested to see how that energy lets out. I think next week that Don's gonna clean up that wine stain on the bedroom carpet, which just was bothering me for that whole scene. That wine stain is gonna set in. You gotta put some salt and some club soda on that, Don. Come on. That was some hot speculation right there to close out the episode. Thanks for watching DVR Club. We'll be back soon. Bye.
Bye.